Alright. I don't know if many people know this on my channel anymore because I've amassed about 230 more subscribers since I've publicly came out and since I made videos when I was still a believer in that ideology. And yes, I know my face is completely fucked up right now. You don't need to tell me. Um, I used to be a libertarian. I was a libertarian for 4 years, I believe. I publicly stepped away from libertarianism, publicly being YouTube. In December 2016, I pretty much laid out my case why, um, and I left, and I became, I guess, some type of liberal. I wouldn't say neoliberal. I don't think anybody would classify me as a neoliberal, like a SJW, Hillary Clinton camp type neoliberal. I just don't believe in that. Um, but definitely much further left than I was back then. I started to kind of falter on my libertarian stances back last June. I started to extremely falter on them right around the what is Aleppo incident. That's pretty much at that point I formulated like I am not going to vote libertarian this year. But I want to talk about what I don't like about the libertarians as the party we know today. You see, I have never had more of a displeasure than being a part of the Libertarian Party and seeing some of the smugness and just incredibly rude nature of the libertarians. I don't think I've ever seen more of kind of a posh type behavior from any other political party. Republicans are just kind of outright assholes. Democrats are just kind of patronizing in a way, but libertarians have this weird smugness about them. Like, I am the shit, like elitist type of. At least they come off as elitist in a way. But I noticed a libertarian tactic is this, and I've seen this as a trend for a few election cycles now. Libertarians for 3.7 years will go, oh, look at the hypocrisy of these parties, or remember when this party said this, and now they're, complete controlling one-dimensional type fascist parties. Or they'll say, oh, well, they claim to be for this and they claim to be for this, but we're both, blah, blah, blah. I find it weird that every election, the libertarians, a large proportion of libertarians, leave libertarianism momentarily and vote for a fucking Republican. I would go to say it was definitely a large number of libertarians this year, or this past election. Gary Johnson was just ridiculous. I don't know if he was paid off to act like a complete fucking retard or he was just that stupid. But I notice they become Republicans for like the last month before the election, vote for the Republican candidate, and then continue to be libertarians. Now, if you'd want your party to gain control and actually have a foot in America, you would think you would be consistent with your voting and what you're preaching. Now, libertarians have a way too oversimplistic view of economics as it is, but they also like to portray themselves as the protest party, essentially. I don't think it's just people voting for them. I think they've kind of built this, we're kind of the protest vote mentality around them. Because, whatever it takes to get those votes. But it certainly is not helping when a large percentage of your party goes off and votes Republican. Now, I'm also amazed in the meantime that Gary Johnson got as many votes as he did with all the media blunders he had. I would have much preferred it like the last election where you did not hear of him unless you actively searched for him. But that was my main concern, is like the smugness and them calling out everybody and then momentarily becoming one of the parties they spent, over 3 years condemning. And you see many libertarian YouTubers do the same thing. I guess they have some weight to their rationale this time. Because Gary Johnson, I think, just really did not handle his campaign well. He really fucked it up for the Libertarian Party. And if Trump acts more like a libertarian in his term right now, I don't think the Libertarian Party will ever be big again. Or at least not for quite a few decades. I think you'll see the Libertarian Party kind of go back into its roots as kind of more like a, the Liberty Messenger magazine or something. But on like an online format, you'll only see it on like forums and stuff for quite a while. And then maybe if the two parties become a joke again, libertarianism will peak again. But here's the thing, with Dwayne Johnson possibly going into office, hinting at it, and Donald Trump, let's be honest, he'll probably go for a rerun. If we can see Dwayne Johnson versus Donald Trump, it may be ridiculous. It might turn the whole American political system into a farce. But I see libertarianism and libertarians continuously use that as possible, like a possible factor for them getting more hits the next election. I have to honestly say I think that's more of a pipe dream, because I don't think they realize that it won't just be libertarians in the sphere, in the spectrum. The Greens will probably be there again. You might see an American version of the Labor Party. I'm sure the Democrats will splinter in a few dozen different groups. Same for the Republicans, likely. And it might start to look more like a European election, but still a lot of the American elements install into it, where there's like 21 flavors Baskin Robbins political parties at the election, which I would like to see. I would like to see multiple presidential candidates at the election debates, the presidential debates, my bad. And instead of 2 candidates, you see maybe 6, 7, 8 candidates. At that point, we may have to have some type of elimination process within the political system. I mean, I don't even want to get into my ideal American voting system quite yet. I don't think it should be done by popular vote. I think we should start going into like a split election type of thing, where different percentages of different parties actually get into the seats in office to represent the whole population. Because, Democrats and Republicans represent us pretty much universally in Congress, but there's always those certain people in these parties, or people who are independents, who don't necessarily seem to feel represented by these people. But that's for another video. I just don't like the smugness, I don't like the backpedaling, and I certainly don't like them going through with that and then continuing to do the same shit every year. I do think libertarians are very intelligent people, but I do think at the same time they're maybe not intelligent enough to realize that their ideology is a little too idealistic. it doesn't take the absolute complex gray area that is the American society. They just kind of base things on the honor system, and yeah, that's all I have to say about this for now. Until next time.